What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Beyond the Grave Media. This is Josh here checking in on you. Out there in YouTube land, a little Beyond the Grave after dark. We got the candles going. Everybody in my house is asleep. It's Friday Eve. Everyone's sleeping soundly, excited for the weekend tomorrow. And one of my favorite things to do when it's that time is to watch a seriously spooky flick. And whenever I recommend this movie, I always have to put an asterisk after it because everyone loves Damien Leone's, sensational Terrifier that took the world by storm, Terrifier 2. This is not that. This is an Argentinian flick that goes by Eterrados. I hope I'm saying that right. This is 2017's Terrified. Terrified, not Terrifier. And this is a seriously spooky flick. This is my favorite, debatably, probably my favorite, my number one recommended if you're not into foreign flicks. This is an incredible movie, and people are catching on to this director because When Evil Lurks took the world by storm. I mean, When Evil Lurks was my favorite movie last year. It's incredible, but not as good to me as Terrified. I love this movie so much. I love you guys. Let's break it down more. Let's just get into it. Let's get right into it. One of the main reasons why Terrified is so scary is it takes a unique approach to its horror. The film doesn't rely on jump scares or cheap thrills to frighten you. No. Instead, it builds tension slowly, deliberately, and methodically. It creates this sense of unease that, for me, lingered long after the credits rolled. As soon as this movie was over, I text my best friend. I was like, dude, I don't care what you're doing right now. Turn that crap off, put on Shudder. You gotta watch Terrified. Don't have a subscription? Here's my login. You don't like subtitles? Too bad. Everybody took Spanish. They know a little bit, hopefully. It becomes second nature as you listen to it. Another factor that, for me, works for this movie is the use of sound and visuals in tandem. The eerie sound design, the visuals, they work together to create this truly immersive experience. I was just unsettled the whole time. There's these trippy noises going off, there's this echo effect, and unfortunately I gotta say the cinematography word, but it's beautiful to look at. It's dark, it's creepy, it's like washed out, and then all of a sudden there's blood. There's blood spray everywhere, and it's gory. It's beautiful to look at. It's the darkest, deepest reds you're gonna see. It just totally took over the film for me. What also works, though, I think, is the exploration of the supernatural. There's this, is this a phenomenon that's actually happening on this street? Are the characters, dreaming this? Is there something in the water? Have they been laced? We're trying to find out together. There's all of these encounters, and I don't know, I was just unsettled watching it, right? It's a freaky movie, everything about it. The sound, the visuals, the phenomenon, the supernatural. Dude, Terrified, it just works. It just works. So have a seat over there. Let's talk about how I found this movie. Going back in time, a lot of people get the Sunday scaries or, the M day's coming and they don't want to think about work and they just want to space out and just pretend and do anything but have to think about their next work week. How are we going to get through it? Oh my God. Especially if you don't like your job. I love my job, but still, there's sometimes you have to deal with people or there's things you're not looking forward to. And horror movies, for me, always take that away. I'm a big fan of that feeling. And that's how I discovered this movie. I was reading different posts on Bloody Disgusting or iHorror or something like that. And they were talking about this movie, Terrified, a Sunday afternoon. My wife likes to sleep on the couch. We had this giant couch. We still do. And she would kind of nap, and that was my cue that I could watch whatever I want, right? So I queue up this movie. It's in Spanish or Argentinian or whatever. And I put it on. And the first opening scene that I just showed back there absolutely took over. I was like, what in the hell is going on with this movie? And I got deeper, and because I was having to read, I turned up the volume. For whatever reason, isn't that weird? I was like, oh my God, this movie. Turn it up, what's happening? Turn it up. Close the windows, right? Shut the light out. It was fall, so it was getting dark. Perfect, dude. Stormy night, perfect. Perfect. I think I had a hard cider or something in the fridge. I paused the movie after that scene, put it in my Yeti, and I was like, this is happening. I'm drinking this right now. I had so much fun with this movie, and I was just taken away. I went on a trip, man, and in more ways than one, I started watching this movie, and as the scenes start to unravel, and it's kind of like a little mini anthology. It all takes place on this one street where this guy, he's hearing this drip of water, and for whatever reason, his wife or whatever just loses it, goes into the bathroom, and as you've seen, there's a scene that happens, and I was just overwhelmed. I was like, oh my God, dude, something's in the water. And I start to piece together in my head, right? And then, it goes on to the next neighbor, and there's something under the bed. And so he decides he's going to film this thing. And so that photo where there's that thing that I just showed kind of coming out, this guy's watching himself being stalked by this thing at night that's on the same street, just a couple houses down. And then there's another instance where there's this kid and something happens and there's this ghost and so then it becomes kind of like this detective show where there's these supernatural events happening and everyone has to try to solve it. There's like this kind of police drama back and forth. Incredible dialogue. The performances are awesome. This dude, man, he's just my kind of director. Demian Rugna crushes this thing. I was going to say killed it. Everything about this movie. I mean, I think that the only thing that I would say that this movie doesn't have going for it is its cover. That looks like it's going to be some kind of Grave Encounters, which, there's a fan base for that, and the first one's okay. But it looks like it's going to be cheap, some kind of sci-fi original, and that's not what happens with this movie. Not even a little bit. This movie's incredible. I love it, everything about it, dude. This movie is so scary. When I put it on, I'm like, I'm going for a ride today. Every time I watch it probably twice a year. I love it, dude. Legitimately scary, unique and surprising, says right on the back. Incredible movie. Incredible. You gotta watch it. Let me explain this to you like you're 5, how you watch this movie, okay? It's really simple. You grab your movie, open up the case, pull your disc out, put it in the player. You go over to your blinds, you close them things. You grab your new Samsung S23 Plus, you put that thing on vibrate, you throw it away from you. You want it nowhere near you because you're going to be reading for a little bit. You grab your remote for your sound system, you turn it way up, okay? You grab popcorn, a beer, whatever you're into, and you sit down and you pay attention and you just let this thing play. You buy the ticket and you take the ride. This movie, if you're not into subtitles, you gotta get over that. You gotta get over that. There is so many amazing foreign flicks, right? And if When Evil Lurks didn't exist, this would be my #1 recommended movie. It's absolute, and I know I just said that this is it, but the two of them, because I haven't seen When Evil Lurks as many times, I recommend that movie a lot. You gotta watch foreign flicks, man. You gotta get over that. I'm telling you, if that holds you up having to read, it's good for you, okay? I mean, you can always go dubbed for some of them, right? But this movie, it's in Spanish. There's so many good movies like that. This movie is incredible, and this is not the best version of this movie, RLJE. We need it in 4K, and mine is really ugly, but it's kind of charming. It's got this giant fine, $1 per day, because when it finally showed up in my Amazon cart, I had to buy it, and it didn't show that on the what I was going to be getting. So the actual disc itself also has a wonderful sticker on it that I cannot get off. Gugon, it does not matter. It's from McKinley Memorial Library. Shout out McKinley, wherever you're at. You ruined this case, but whatever. I needed this movie, so and I'm also not a big fan of recycled, these little eco cases. I live in a giant college town, Hippieville, right? Home of the Ducks. I have to recycle. I'm a big fan, right? You get fined if you don't. Just saying. This is a terrible release, but it looks great. It sounds great. This is Demian Rugna crushes it. Gotta watch this movie. I don't care what you're doing. Go find this on Shudder. Put it on. If you've never watched a foreign flick, you might say, man, that cover's so dumb, and I agree. Gory, gruesome. Guys, that pretty much wraps us up. That's Terrified. No jump cuts, no heavy editing needed. Terrified doesn't deserve it. Just put it out there, look right at the camera and say, hey, you should be watching this movie. Check it out. If you want to see more from me, do me a favor, like, comment, let me know down below. If you've seen this movie, do you like it? Did you hate it? Do you think the cover art blows? It totally does. And then subscribe, share it with a friend, share it with an enemy, talk some mess down there, whatever you want to do. We're getting closer to 500 subs, so thank you guys so much. It means a lot to me. We've been doing this for 3 months, just kind of winging it, having fun, talking about my favorite thing in the world, horror movies. Love you guys. Follow me on social media, on Instagram. I post on there, maybe once a day. I like to throw death metal in there. I'm a huge advocate for disgusting death metal, but sometimes, we throw a little fun stuff in there too. Until next time, the weekend's coming. You're going to get a lot more stuff from me. Take care of yourselves. Cheers.